And anyway, our press has published over 200 books. We have a reading series, a poetry and translation, roundtables, workshops, poet and artist series, the Lost Bookshelf Bookstore, and Read America Read. In the last few years, we added a lot of staff, which has been great. And for me, that's really exciting. And tonight, well, we have three wonderful, wonderful readers, and they are dear friends of mine. So I'm so excited to have you guys here. So, so the first reader is Kathleen Aguero, and we published her chapbook, Investigations, The Mystery of the Girl Sleuth, in 2008. And here is the chapbook. And when I took this out today, all I could think of, Kathleen, was Kate's Mystery Bookshop. It's a long story, everybody, but all I can say is we laughed for about a half hour after that. And Kathleen has numerous books published and many publications, and she teaches in the low residency MFA program at Pine Manor. So I give you Kathleen. You need to unmute yourself.
Now I'm okay, right? All right, thank you, Gloria, for inviting me. I'm looking forward to hearing the other readers, and thank everybody for coming. I usually like to start my readings with a poem by someone else. And I was looking through my bookshelves and I found this. I don't know if you can see it. It's obviously used. It's obviously old because I got it for 95 cents and it was originally $1.75. So you couldn't even get a cup of coffee or a bottle of water for that. And these are the selected poems of Gabriela Mistral, translated by Langston Hughes. So now that we're spending so much time in our houses, it's kind of amazing what you might find when you look around. This poem is Song by Gabriela Mistral, and it's sort of mysterious, but I found it oddly comforting. Song. A woman is singing in the valley. The shadows falling blot her out, but her song spreads over the fields. Her heart is broken, like the jar she dropped this afternoon among the pebbles in the brook. As she sings, the hidden wound sharpens on the thread of her song and becomes thin and hard. Her voice, in modulation, dampens with blood. In the fields, the other voices die with the dying day, and a moment ago, the song of the last slowpoke bird stopped. But her deathless heart, alive with grief, gathers all the silent voices into her voice, sharp now, yet very sweet. Does she sing for a husband who looks at her silently in the dusk, or for a child whom her song caresses? Or does she sing for her own heart, more helpless than a babe at nightfall? Night grows maternal before this song that goes to meet it. The stars, with a sweetness that is human, are beginning to come out. The sky full of stars becomes human and understands the sorrows of this world. Her song is pure as water filled with light, cleanses the plain and rinses the mean air of the day in which men hate. From the throat of the woman who keeps on singing, day rises nobly, evaporating toward the stars. And that's Gabriela Mistral. So one year, I don't know how this happened, I started looking at the World Happiness Index. I didn't know before that there was such a thing. And I looked at it in 2018, and by 2019, the United States had dropped a number. And I don't know where we'll be on the happiness scale in 2020. But the World Happiness Scale, 2019. How happy I am to live in the 19th happiest country in the world. Soon a wall around our southern border will keep our happiness safe from number 23 to our south. Number 9 to our north doesn't want it anyway. I'm happy tulips rose this month through the arsenic soil, and the air I breathe is dark with money. In country 19, we can say what we want. A professor in California is allowed to say we elected a racist president, And those who disagree are allowed to leave phone messages threatening his 9-year-old daughter because we live free or die. The professor and his wife are happy to be able to park in a different space each day for safety's sake. It's fun, like playing hide and seek. Our children leave their houses each morning happy, not knowing what adventures the day holds. Might they be shot on the sidewalk by an officer who mistakes their cell phone for a gun, or by a gang member undergoing initiation? Or will they get to school only to have to hide in a closet from an active shooter? If they arrive home safely, ho hum, there's always tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow the teachers will have guns. They are happy to be living in this just happy enough country where no one dares get sick because that could bankrupt them. If you work hard in happy country 19, you too can be as rich as the sea. And if not, there are lots of street corners to live on and happy things to swallow or snort, and the fetid air from the subway grate will keep you warm at night if you knock someone else off it, like playing King of the Mountain. We like games, lotteries, escape room, roulette. We have problems, of course, that we're trying to solve. If numbers 20 or 27 get in our way, that's their own fault. If they only worked hard, they could be 19 like us. We're from the country of hard work and initiative, of take what you want and say it was yours all along. Numbers 1, 2, and 3, with their orderly lives, their health care and housing and good schools for free, grow soft and mushy. Not us. We're the ice inside a snowball, the rubber hose that leaves no mark. We dance on the head of uncertainty, cruelty's pin. Every morning our sun rises, red, white, and blue. The rider, the horse. Fear saddled me, trained me, stabled me, named me, braided my hair. Carrot and stick taught me to dance, taught me to rear, shod me and hobbled me, bred me and pastured me, cantered me, galloped me, spurred me, and drove me out of the meadow into the thicket, out of the thicket into the woods. Fear held the bridle, tightened the bit. Fear was the master, brutal and quick. But was I the horse? Was I the rider? This is a prose poem, Spying. Spying is what I love, not as a voyeur, not in the sense that I'm getting away with something, seeing what I shouldn't, but the small window frame, the yellow light, the comfort of people going about their ordinary lives, a girl reading on a sofa, a man setting groceries on the table. Once I saw a woman peeling carrots into the kitchen sink, her long earrings swaying forward as she leaned. She looked as if she were humming to herself, as if her soul were lounging far away while her hands worked rhythmically and thin, dirty carrot skins dropped into the sink. This has nothing to do with loneliness either. Suppose I had been sitting at her kitchen table, her guest, watching her prepare a meal, drinking a beer with her, laughing. That dreaminess would not be there. The essence of herself would be put to one side as we focused on each other and on ourselves focusing on each other. But looking through the window, I am effaced. A distraction neither to myself nor to this woman who can drift and have her drifting honored. I think of myself as a kind of emissary of the Lord, blessing all I spy. It's true, I really do love to look in people's windows, at night before they pull the shade down and you can see their tables, and I don't know what it is. That's why I love Halloween too, because people open their front doors and you get to look in their living rooms. That is fun. Difficult child. In the kitchen, my neighbor's young daughter climbed on a chair, pulled a dull knife from the counter, and threatened to kill herself. Her parents sat in the den, and when I rose, said, "The doctor told us ignore her until she calms down." She was the difficult child. I went in. She put down the knife. I understand her, what she was doing, and also why her parents didn't rise from their chairs. I understand the pull of the empty threat and the threat of the empty threat. I was the difficult child who hid outside in the dark so my parents couldn't find me. We were about to call the police, my father said. The little girl grew to trust the dream catcher she hung over her bed would capture nightmares, let good dreams slip through. I trust the dream, the one in which my sister finds in the bed table drawer my mother's gold necklace that I'd misplaced, and when I wake the next day, there it is. The dream where I lean across the table toward a woman in shadow and say, Grandma, neither of us has much time. The one where my friend walks beside me on the bike path and says, stay here, and heads back to her death. And the one in which my neighbors enter the kitchen where their daughter is doing the dance of the knives, and they admire her skill, her magical feet, the quick flash of steel. Their arms around us, all of us dance. So I've been writing a series of self-portrait poems, and this is the most recent. Self-portrait as Villanelle. It's too much, too little, too big, too small. The voice in your head, a persistent drum. Not enough, too many, too short, too tall. Quit your whining, the same voice growls. Push the mantra you chant to a distant hum. It's too much, too little, too big, too small. Give it too much gas and make it stall. Hold its head underwater to drown its thrum. Not enough, too many, too short, too tall. Your problem is that you want it all. But see for yourself, when you think you've won, it's too much, too little, too big, too small. If you picture yourself, you want to crawl into a tunnel where you try to outrun not enough, too many, too short, too tall. Could you muffle that voice with a nun's black shawl? Could you stare it down till it's nearly dumb? No, it's too much, too little, too big, too small, not enough, too many, too short, too tall. Although no one has ever said I was too tall. In fact, I think when I went to the doctor, I discovered I lost an inch to my dismay. Okay. All of us. George Washington chases his false teeth through space. All of us, living and dead, weightless as astronauts floating. Elizabeth I with her receding hairline. Genghis Khan linking arms with the North Cambridge cobbler. My friend Phyllis spins by so fast she can't hear me call out. Even baby Emery, so very alive, floating arms outstretched, shouting for his brother to look. My elementary school nuns have lost their wimples and veils, so their black habits flap like the wings of distressed crows. I'm getting dizzy and wondering how long this will last and whether I like it or not. Exciting at first, but I can't steer at all. I'm just a slip of paper caught by wind or a cotton shirt churning in the washing machine. Let the dead float happy and gravity pull the rest of us back to the ground. And I'd like to end with this poem from my book After That, which was kindly published on the website of the Mass Poetry Association. Hard work. Hope springs eternal. But I couldn't imagine how hope, before it gets to that bubbling place, forces itself through miles of dirt packed hard, then around, over, under rocks, willing itself not to dry up in the desert or to merge with the sewer of a city street, waiting for frozen prairie to thaw, resisting the warm and mindless absorption of mud, moss, sand, swamp, until it finds a small trembling where, welcome or not, it gathers the last of its strength and breaks through to the surface, the way a laboring woman, stinking, exhausted, summons one last grunt and push to force the baby into the world where it takes its first sharp breath. I bow my head to the hard work of hope. I let it place its dull and heavy hand upon my neck. I submit to its door, blessing. I give up. I begin its thankless, necessary pilgrimage. Thank you. Let me mute.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Our next reader is Jen Knox. Jen is the winner of the Prize Americana for Prose, is a writing coach and in an academic program manager at Ohio State University. And her latest book is called Resolutions, A Family in Stories. And she also has many books and publications. So I give you Jen.
Thank you, Gloria. Beautiful reading. I'm going to be reading from Resolutions, and it's going to be a very short excerpt. So this is fiction, and I need to find it in my computer space here. Essentially, this character got out of prison a year prior, and she's settling into interesting routines. So, Nothing Wrong, the chapter title. Los Angeles, California. Heavy-legged after an hour of walking, my stomach hums. I hum. My neck is leaden, weighed down by 2 canvas bags that were heavier this morning. It's not even 10 a.m., and I'm one True Organics, trademark, sail away from my goal, a few sails away from folding 1 canvas bag and nesting it inside the other. Freedom is a beautiful thing, a thing I will not take for granted or misunderstand again. In the basement level bathroom, I find an outdated but convenient fainting couch facing the sinks and mirrors. Taking a seat on the avocado cushions, I feel the first tremor and imagine my body reaching toward the ground, rooting itself as I grip the armrest. The walls hum, the floor hums. No sooner than it starts, the shaking ceases. The room steadies and a toilet flushes. Since I've been out, I am always aware of my position in the world. And right now, I am at the base of a triangular building near the base angle. It has been so many decades since my last geometry class, not to mention geography. But I remain a dedicated earth sign, geo-inclined, a Virgo, everyone's mother, no one's mom. Rather than imagining what my children are doing right now, I do what I did inside. I begin naming US capitals. As someone flushes the toilet a second time, I pause on Maine, but Augusta comes. My birthday month, so many years. Going global is tougher. I recall global capitals inaudibly and find I can no longer remember any of the capitals in Central Asia. This would be embarrassing inside. I spent so many nights committing them to memory, winning commissary every Monday afternoon trivia session. Something is sprayed in the stall, rather it is spritzed, and the room smells of oranges. The woman who comes out applies grocery store-bought lipstick instead of washing her hands. She ignores my cordial smile and gentle head nod toward the soap. When the woman rushes out, I hoist myself up and take her place at the mirror. I wipe everything down with disinfecting hand wipes and a series of prayers. Bless the sink. Some people are not worthy of my product, but everyone deserves well wishes. The reflection staring back at me always seems a surprise, though not unpleasant, not in the same way it was in my 30s and 40s. My face resembles crepe paper now, and I appear to be wearing one of those awful fanny packs under my clothes. This latter observation is both disheartening and rather amusing every time, but I have never been one to dwell. I slap my lower belly a few times and stand up straight, full-on smile. The new psychiatrist is located on the 6th floor, a floor I have yet to see, because I spend approximately 30% of my non-working time going to appointments, making appointments, and dropping off birthday and holiday cards to doctors and staff. A new floor is a rarity. I happen to be a celebrity in most of the med center buildings. I know them better than I do my own mind. To orient myself, I visualize the landscape, marker by marker. My new general practitioner is around the corner and down Whisper Curl right next to my gynecologist and the 7-Eleven. From the base angle of the triangle, I am no more than half a block from my neurologist and allergy doctors who share a building. My dermatologist is a mile away, but right next to my dentist. I glance up at the pocked ceiling. I remember hearing that all pyramid-shaped buildings will ultimately sink, that it's a curse carried down since ancient Egypt. The shaking returns. This time, a sharp nudge. It feels as though someone has me by the shoulders, jerking me this way and that. I close my eyes and imagine being on a boat. Jackson had always wanted a boat. All right, so that leaves a lot to the imagination. And I wanted to be very, very brave and read a poem. I'm not usually a poet, but I'm inspired. And then I will pass the mic to Joanie. So let's see. Okay, this is entitled Jupiter. Every dream a slip of a thing, a sojourn into an ordinary past, until a deep quarantine sleep tugged Jupiter toward our small Midwestern town. I trudged toward it, of course, the planetary pull cartoon-like, its gravitational force targeting segments of me, leaving the rest enchanted, confused. I checked the news, the charts, the trends, and I stared out my window just as many of us do. At 4 a.m., I saw Jupiter, a slip of a thing, with Saturn in its gaze, surrounded by stars in a sharp, dark morning sky. And I sat tall. A conductor, I pulled the planets apart and knit the space between them. The delicate force between my fingers erased fragmented dreams, walked me outside, and for a moment, I felt whole. All right, that's it.
Thank you, Jen. So Joanie is next, and we published Dead Letters by her in 2012, and this is it. And Joanie, I can't remember if you retired from college or you're still teaching there.
No, I just actually got a brand new gig managing Center for Academic Assistance there. So I'm over math, science, and writing. And,
Oh, okay.
We open on August 24th for the first time. It's a beautiful space.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And Joanie also runs the Hot Pillow series that many of us read at AWP, and it is a blast. And I really missed it this past year, and I always look forward to it. And Joanie and Jen were here in Boston not too long ago, reading at the Armory. And Joanie has many publications and books out too. So I give you Joanie.
Thank you. And Gloria, I just want to say thank you for all of your years and years of support of small press writers. You are amazing, and I appreciate you so much. I'm going to read mostly from my chap because it is the 15-year anniversary, and I felt like I needed to do that for me and for Gloria and for her press. The first poem that I'm going to read is a vignette of a scene from when I was a very young girl. And it's about my mother, who actually is here listening tonight. She's 95 years old. So hi, Mom. Glad you can make it. This is called Midnight, 1960. The lamp spreads its yellow halo over my mother's dark curls. Smoke swirls around her face as she reads. A teapot in its cozy, rose-painted cup and saucer near. Pall Mall butts lie discarded in the ashtray, tipped with Avon's latest red. Unthinking, she raises a delicate finger to her pink tongue, dabs a sliver of tobacco from its tip. Never taking her eyes from the book cradled in her lap, she lives another life. My father sleeps rooms away, unaware of the change taking place in the cooling midnight air. Thanks. The next one is from when I lived in Memphis for 9 years, and I regret leaving and miss it to this day. It's called Memphis. Saxophone notes stroke the bricks on Beale. A black man hands love a melody, plays the music of ghosts. Voices echo over the midnight street. A couple stops. A girl sways and drops dollars in the open case, crouching at the blues man's feet. The man grasps her elbow and steers west, beyond the streetlights where stars pearl the Mississippi's breast. Her body plunges to become a creature of filtered light, as delta mud swirls beneath the currents. He wipes a jackknife clean against the earth and sends it toppling after her. Sinking beneath the broken line of entry, blonde braids waver. A hand drifts skyward through water threaded red around a face. Poised just south of day, a mother in Petontic County sleeps. Before she wakes, she dreams of dark hands, of blue notes swirling on Memphis air, of a daughter's bourbon loneliness, of her little girl with braided sunlight hair. The next one is called Sand Dollar. Washed ashore, I am the coin of mermaids in your palm. Your eyes see only treasure, not the measure of my end. The sand moves sculpted by wind. Endings clarify, chasten. Lifted from a suitcase, I am the memory of sun slashed across a cheekbone. Wind ruffled seagrass, the curl of foam that spumes above green waves. Bonfires that sear the night sky. A kiss from one whose footprints disappeared beyond the dunes. I am the arid bone of flowered stars. And this one I just had to read because it was my very first publication. And the irony was it was a special 25-year Elvis anniversary for River City from the University of Memphis. And I ended up being published with Lucille Clifton, John Upton, T.C. Boyle, and a number of other people, including my very first poetry teacher, Dick Allen, from the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut, 40 years before that, 30 years before that. Anyway, needless to say, I never did as well again. Let's put it that way. How do you beat that? This is called Postmodern Peanut Butter Sandwich. Expose him, the first thief who culled the strange fruit, plundered heartwood from another man's tree. Blue hues strained through blank, brittle pages of Southern Baptist Bibles, poured over an ivory palette to pack the cotton panties of pubescent girls with a bullet. Cunning Iago with pompadoured fin, a hillbilly hipster humping heartbreak in roadhouse finery. Nothing intrinsic ever flowed to the north, save a white boy whose mouth dripped of sweat leather sex, steeped in Tupelo breast milk and honey. Memphis's man, androgynous scam, Colonel Tom's Cadillac king. The slick highwayman polished "That's all right, mama," rubbed her clean and drove her to Levittown. Steamrolled over Hoboken, sang gospel till dawn, whitewashed Vegas with feathers plucked from a black man's swan song. Blind Willie's voice lies intestate, while his tunes transcend solid gold. And I'm going to read one that I wrote recently, just because the only thing I can write lately is stuff that irritates me. And I wrote this on February 13th, 2020, thinking nothing worse could possibly ever happen, okay? Sick babies glut his prison still, but those to whom they mattered failed to free them or rewrite their tale. Newer transgressions steer group rage toward trendy, incandescent blazes. Talking heads have swung their gaze from Texas and those dated cages. Facts fudged daily, piece by piece, in ritual that muzzles each new truth that twists the news away from former credibility. Grand lies perform like purple pills that force the faithful vertical. His base surges on stomping feet, red caps and banners tilted right. Erased detainees beg release, but echoes only sound rebuke. They sniff the air, rattle the doors, but billionaires buttress the bars, refuse to free them, quite aware of greenbacks to be minted there. Integrity lies bleeding out, hammered and spiked forevermore. Corpses unmask the corporate killing floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanie. Can we give everyone that read another applause, please? They were great. Thank you so much. A very nice evening. And tomorrow, can you mute yourself? Okay. Tomorrow we have Michael Folds. He was the editor of Ragazine. They closed down recently and they're trying to find someone to take it over. And Thad DeVassi will be reading. And David Capella has canceled. He lost electricity and the last 3 days have had nothing. So
Gloria, you went mute.
oh, sorry, I don't know what you heard. Did you hear?
Capella canceled because he has no electricity.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
as far.
3
All
days.
right. That's okay. Yeah, I was muted, so that's okay. So anyway, it doesn't look good for him to join us, so we'll have 2 anyway, which is great. And again, I would like to thank some of the Cervena staff that's here tonight, and that's RJ Jeffries, Renuka Raghaven, Karen Friedland, Zachary Cook, who's my intern, and Joy Martin, who has helped me become very organized. So anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And thanks again, Joanie, Jen, and Kathy. It means a lot to me to have you here and read. And so that's it for tonight.
Thank you, Gloria. Gloria, thank you.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Great job, everybody.
Stay safe.
Wonderful.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for inviting me.
Bye.
Thanks for inviting me.
Mito.
Thank you,
Joanie, you're gonna have to come over and read it to Mom in person, I'm afraid.
I would have
Jan, great to read with you. I loved your work. Thank you.
Really beautiful. I loved everything. It was great. Thanks so much. Yeah, Mom had a sinking spell and she disappeared into the sunset. So you'll have to come over and read it in person. Sorry. You'll